Welcome to the Running Channel Podcast with me, Andy Baddeley, Sarah Hartley, and the guy who would never get out of bed before midday unless he had to come to do the Running Channel Podcast, Rick Kelsey.
I've got two small children. Today we are asking what is the best time of day to run. Fascinating topic, this.
Yeah, I think there are going to be lots of different opinions on this one, and really it's going to come down to your other life responsibilities. Andy is probably tracking his shuttle runs, getting his kid 1 out the bed to the car, going back for
Brilliant.
kid 30. Rick, on the other hand, is usually up at the crack of dawn, addressing current affairs to the nation.
And you?
Well, I'm free to run whenever I want. Living the dream.
So today I think we're basically going to have to go full science, which I'm actually really pleased about.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the psychological and physiological benefits, or maybe drawbacks, of running at different times of the day and see what each of those are.
Yeah, well, don't worry. There's still going to be plenty of me rinsing these two because we haven't actually seen each other in a little while. So there is a lot to pack into this episode, as well as answering your questions and covering the news. So let's get into it.
Andy and I actually socialised together at the weekend.
You went to the pub without me.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the Wirral.
Yeah, we're on the Wirral.
Near
Yeah,
Liverpool.
On the Wirral.
On the
On the
Wirral.
Wirral.
Yeah.
How was it? Did you have fun?
Great, actually.
Yeah, it was lovely. We set the worlds to rights. It was a Friday afternoon.
Friday afternoon, we met at 1 o'clock.
We were the only people in the pub for a
we
good
went
2
to
hours.
Weatherspoons, but there was a 45-minute
You
queue.
went to Spoon.
No,
But then
we
we went there first.
Yeah.
There was a queue, and then we went
Oh,
somewhere
right.
else.
Good decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we put the world to rights.
Can I address something which blew my mind? So you were at the Wirral.
on the Wirral.
Yeah.
On the Wirral. You were on the Wirral. You posted on Strava and it wasn't a run. And
Oh,
it
yeah?
genuinely, I've never seen anyone else use Strava as a social network. But here he was on Strava going, does anyone want to go for a run
What
with
did you?
me?
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you did?
Yeah, I said I'm heading up to the Wirral. Anyone want to do this workout with me on
Did
on
anyone
Friday?
come?
No.
No.
That's so funny.
He
basically-
asked his 17,000 followers and they all said no.
No,
There were a lot
no
of
one was
people-
on the Wirral.
There was so many people who commented being like, sorry, mate, I'm in Canada.
Yeah. I mean, there was lots of sass about the pace.
Oh yeah. Hi guys. I'm just near the Wirral this weekend. Does
the
anyone
Wirral.
want to come and run at 3:40 per kilometre pace
For the
with me?
reps, for the intervals.
How many reps?
It was two sets of 5 minute, 4 minute, 3 minute, 2 minute, 1 minute.
Right, that's quite a lot of reps. And then also, what pace did you actually end up going?
Yeah, 3:20.
Yeah.
kilometre.
Slight,
I was
tiny little
I was so
technical
cross-
detail.
I was so cross that I had no friends and no one would come and run with me.
Well,
So-
Sarah and
But
I
you
were
just
doing
whizzed
about
through it.
that pace on a track. In fact, I hung out with Sarah on Thursday and you on Friday.
Oh,
you've
my
had
gosh.
the best week ever.
we went to
have
St Albans and did track sprints, 400 metres, where you had to predict your track time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I had no idea going into this. I thought,
as opposed to normally.
well, but I haven't run around a track for years.
Do you want to know? We almost had to reshoot the beginning of the video because Rick had literally no idea. Ran a lap, cheated, went and ran a lap to test out and timed himself.
Yeah.
Then spoke to James. It was me, Tom, James, Rick.
Yeah.
Spoke to James and was like, "Look, mate, we're similar paces. What are you saying?" Added 1 second on to what James was predicting,
Yeah.
and his predicted time was 81 seconds. Now Rick didn't understand that James's tactic was to just run flat out.
Yeah.
And do it.
81's pretty fast.
Yeah, so then we told Rick the average pace of what 81 was, and he was like, no, let's cut this. Can we go again?
I served you right for trying to cheat.
And then also the way that we set up the filming day was we were doing we had 3 attempts. We were doing the
Awful
first
timings.
attempt, and then there was like an athletics meet on the track. So we took a lunch break and then came back and did the second 2
So
attempts.
it was the first attempt after breakfast and the second attempt after lunch.
Yeah, so Rick literally was sat there with his jacket potato talking to himself at lunch, being like, don't eat any more, Rick. It's going to impact the next.
I had to move the jacket
He
potato away from my
literally
face.
Walked over and put it down a half-eaten jacket potato.
I've missed out for loads of reasons. So I used to do a lot of my training at St Albans.
It's
Beautiful.
such a good track.
It looks over the
During my
cathedral.
career, yeah.
It is a
it's
cathedral.
an incredible
Yeah,
track.
yeah.
It's also a 6-lane track, which is I think is a geeky thing, but it makes it feel smaller, I think.
Oh,
Didn't notice that.
did not notice that
No,
at
yeah.
all.
We removed
There
a
you
lot of
go.
cones.
We did remove a lot
We
of
had
cones.
we had 3 goes each. So
Yeah.
you gave the time, and then you had a go, and you're like, all right, I've gone too fast, gone too slow, and then you had to, edge it a little bit
Yeah.
for the second go. And
We weren't allowed our watches, by the way. I think
you weren't
that
allowed your
just-
watch.
Just to make that
yeah.
clear.
And then the person who did very well out of the 4 of us somehow hit the nail on the head.
Oh, wow.
Oh, but we're
So
not
this-
revealing who.
This would
Yeah.
have been the thing that I would have loved to do when I was training properly, because this was sort of Andy would quite often my coach would quite often take my watch off me, and he'd say, go and run whatever, 64
Yeah.
seconds for this lap.
Yeah.
And when I was in really good,
64 seconds.
whatever it was, and I was in really
80,
good shape.
let's say 80.
80, yeah.
When I was in really good shape, I'd have been annoyed if I was more than a second out.
Really?
Yeah. So
Wow.
I guess you just, but you're
It
doing
is a
day
skill.
in, day out.
It was
Yeah.
really
For
hot. It
years
was a
and
really
years.
fun day because the weather was beautiful. It was completely still, foggy morning, crisp.
Oh yeah, if anyone follows Rick on Instagram, they'll see a very majestic photo that our
Taken by
producer
Owen.
Owen took.
Yeah.
Yeah, producer Owen's behind the cameras over there. But Sarah, that was sort of almost the beginning, not the end, but a bit of a decline for you. How's your
yeah.
running been since then? Because we
Right.
need to have words.
Yeah, we do need to have words. You guys have full permission to tell me off here. So you might remember, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, that back in June, I had an issue with my Achilles.
Yes.
And it was a bit painful. And I went to the physio, I got the advice, and I have followed it.
Ish.
Ish. Here's where it went wrong. I went to the physio,
Yeah.
tick, quite proud of myself for doing that.
Very good.
Got the advice, and at first they diagnosed the problem and they were like, yep, it's definitely your Achilles, let's go into the gym and like show you some exercises. Here's where I went wrong. First question, does your gym have this bit of equipment? Panicked, said yes. Does my gym have said bit of equipment?
No.
No.
Does
brilliant.
not have that bit of equipment. And it is essentially, I think it's called like a safety bar. So kind of like, I needed like a bar on my shoulders.
Yeah.
You can tell I can't speak gym yet. So I needed to do that and then do like weighted calf holds and then
Yeah.
progress into weighted calf raises. So I've done that, but with varying degrees of success of whatever weights I can get my hands on. And so my Achilles pain is back. So just to, really rub salt into the wound, I'm going back to the same physio.
Yes.
I've booked a follow-up appointment.
Follow-up appointment 5 months on.
5 months on.
Yeah.
And tonight, I'm going today and I'm going to be like, hey, Chris, I'm really sorry. I messed up. I've got the same problem
So
again.
are you not able to do what you want to do then at the moment?
No, so I started week 1 of the 5K training, went really well. I did the time trial, which I don't even think we had time to talk about last week. That went really well.
Yeah, really well.
Was really happy with that. And then I think basically because of like just how busy the week was, it meant that I was training hard again, but I wasn't putting kind of rest days in where I wanted to take them. I was kind of just fitting it in where I could.
Yeah.
So it meant that I ended up doing like 3 or 4 days in a row of like quite intense training. And I think I've just overused what my Achilles is used to. So
you
I
bust
think
it out,
I'm now going to have to back off a little bit, build it up again. Hopefully I haven't done too much damage and it's just the same problem. And this time when he says, does your gym have this bit of equipment? I'm going
Check.
to say no.
And do you think you'll be able to run Malaga?
Yeah, I think that'll be fine. So at the moment, the like easier paces for me feel absolutely fine. It's when I like push the pace. So this also, I will highlight my stupidity here. Went and did a progressive run on Saturday and felt completely fine. And it was get faster every 3K. First 3K felt nothing. Second 3K felt nothing. Third 3K started to feel it a little bit. So
Yeah.
I still went up to 10K, but I just completely backed off the pace.
Yeah.
Then also it felt fine. And then the next day I was supposed to do 90 minutes easy. So I was like, right, I'll just go and see what feels okay. I got 25 minutes in at a really kind of steady, easy pace for me. Then there was another girl on the same path that I was running on.
Oh, no, you didn't tell me this bit.
She stopped and I overtook her. And then she probably didn't feel like this at all, but she then like sped up and like re-overtook me.
Yeah.
And when you're like, oh. So then I tried to keep up with her, and then
Because you're an idiot.
Yeah, because I'm an idiot, and that tipped my pace from what was like an easy, comfortable run as you feel
How many
pace.
seconds per kilometre faster did you go for that little
A
period?
good 30 to 40 seconds.
Sarah.
Fast.
Gosh.
So silly.
But when you're
That's
like,
not edging it.
when the adrenaline is just like, oh yeah, this pace feels fine.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it was like, oh no, it doesn't feel fine. So I
bit grumbly.
just stopped
Yeah.
immediately. So
Yeah,
that
okay.
was like a 30-minute run rather than a 90-minute run.
Okay, yeah, you're still running though, and you haven't lost any training yet. So you
No.
just got to be super sensible, which I know that you have been now.
Yeah.
And seeing the physio is the right thing to do. So, yeah, and I know that regardless of what changes you have to make to your training in the next few weeks, you'll get a lot of lovely support from me and Rick, who won't make fun of you because it's not nice being injured.
Yeah.
And also from our lovely community as well, because I've had so many amazing messages from sharing that I was struggling a little bit.
And even like at the moment, I've only said it on Strava and like so many lovely comments.
You know what?
Thank you, everyone who sends a
Loads
message.
of people asking about you, Andy. Jess and I did a run club in Wandsworth 10 days ago. Loads of people that night came up to us on the Thames Pathway who were in our run club and were asking about you. So
it looks like your training's absolutely flying though. So how's it going?
things I'm sort of expecting a dip, but at the moment the mojo is good. And I did my biggest week of training in terms of volume since June. Last week. So just over 50 kilometres in the week.
Are you going to run Malaga?
Malaga half marathon.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the plan. I did a workout. I did a long run yesterday and actually got I just totally didn't look at my watch and was just had a podcast on and was cruising along and then saw my splits at the end. And the second half of my long run on the Sunday was actually way quicker than I probably should have been running, if I'm honest. But I did just run how I feel. And then I've had lots of messages from people both supporting me, but also saying that the fact that I said I hadn't felt great. And then they'd seen me on Strava going out for these runs, had actually, when they'd been struggling to get their shoes on and lace up and get out the door, had actually been the thing that got them out. It's like, oh, Andy's back out. I'm going to go back out. So
nice.
If there's one or two people out there that are listening and struggling to get out, either listening to this or thinking about tomorrow, and you can't really be bothered and you might procrastinate, then just get your shoes on, get out the door, go for a walk, and just maybe start running if you feel all right.
I think it's perfectly normal to have a dip as well.
Yeah.
And most of the time when you do have a dip, it's probably because there's been a little bit of disruption to your routine, which leads us nicely onto...
What should your routine be?
What should your routine be? When is the best time of day to run?
I am really pleased that there is some science in here and there is actually an answer, because I cannot stand doing conversations about running where it's like, oh, it's up to you, work the best for you. Yeah. There is some science. There is an answer to this. Yeah. However, everybody feels their own best at a certain time of day.
So basically, you've just said that you hate doing it. There's also a reality, isn't there, as what you can fit in around.
Should we start off with ourselves? Rick, when's the best time of day for you to run?
Definitely first thing without probably eating anything.
Right, Andy?
So no baked potato.
No baked
potato and beans.
Psychologically, in the morning. Physically, in the evening.
Interesting.
So I hate the idea of a run hanging over me during the day. Like, that you've got to go and do this workout or whatever. That's why I prefer to get it done, because there's a real chance that if it gets to 5 or 6 o'clock, especially when it's dark,
something's going to come up.
That I just won't do it. Or that something comes up, or I get pulled in something at work or with the kids. So if I can, sort of one in the bag is better than one not at all. So that's why going in the morning's better than me psychologically. But I definitely feel physically better and have always performed my best.
Doesn't it boost your day as well?
In the evening. In the evening, I perform better.
I just feel brilliant after a run.
Yes.
For the rest of that day. That's free adrenaline and good times for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Because I've got out and I've done it and I'm buzzing then for the rest of the day. Whereas if I did it in the evening, I wouldn't get the whole benefit of that enjoyment of working it off. But actually, the science suggests in the morning that because your muscles are stiff and you're cold and your blood flow has not been going for as long because you've been sleeping, that actually it's not greatest for your body per se, because you're not in the peak temperature.
Do you not think though that then just, if you look at like your day as a whole, do you not feel though that whatever you do first is slightly impacted by that? Because we have days where we all work from home. If I don't do something before I start working from home, I feel like it's the same thing. If I wake up and go for a run, I know the first couple of miles isn't going to feel that great. Yeah. But on the flip side, if I just wake up and start working straight away, that first half an hour, it's not going so well.
Yeah, it's a good warm up mentally and physically for the day, isn't it? Almost to have done a bit of exercise. So I definitely feel that. What Rick's talking about is that the core body temperature is lower overnight. So when you wake up first in the morning, then there's a good correlation, from what I understand, between higher core body temperature and physical performance and like readiness for exercise. So first thing in the morning, you might not actually be at your most primed to do it if you want to run your best possible. You'll also be dehydrated after a night in bed. Mm-hmm. So you definitely need to rehydrate and warm up a bit physically before you get out there.
How often do you drink anything before going for a morning run? Because I'm terrible at this
Probably
as well.
No. I don't.
Yeah, me neither.
But definitely taking the first mile or two easy is a smart way of easing into it, because sometimes you just don't have time, do you?
But then, come back to this run club, we talked about, fueling before a run and like kind of giving it that 90-minute window, an hour window, or you could have like a banana half an hour before, because it just gives you that instant bit of energy to go. If you're getting up and you're not running, that's not the best, and you're not fueling before you run, that's not the best preparation, is it?
No. But then I would argue there's very few times when I am out the door like less than half an hour after waking up.
Yeah, I'm too old to
So
do that.
maybe
my body sort of creaks in the morning, and I do need a little bit of time. So
maybe what we all need is to sleep next to a banana. And then it's like, bam, alarm goes off, banana.
I can definitely run without the nutrition, but I couldn't run without having a quick drink, and also without kind of at least wandering around the house for a bit to just feel...
Just wandering?
Sorry, I'm just imagining.
Just like
slippers?
Absolutely.
Dressing gown?
Like,
no dressing gown.
No
with a
dressing gown.
nightcap on.
Yeah.
Just
I'm not sleeping in the early 1900s. But the other added benefits...
Walking through all the dormitories. Just
Checking. Tick. Tick. Still here.
Yeah,
Child 491.
Yeah,
Present.
Oh, wow. It's amazing. But getting up early and going for a run could have other benefits. Like if you're seeing real daylight early and being exposed to that has like really positive effects on your sort of natural rhythms, on your immune system, all of those sort of things.
Yeah.
And like gentle exercise in the morning as well definitely contributes to a stronger immune system.
You know what? So when we said we were doing this topic, I was like, there are 3 options. There's morning, lunchtime, evening.
Yeah.
Whereas actually, producer Owen has opened my mind to other windows of time. So mid-morning is an option as well. So kind of between like 9 and 12.
Yeah.
I think if this is your morning routine and I don't have kids, so I don't know if this will be the case, but if your morning routine was wake up, get the kids up, either drive or walk the kids to school and then do a run.
Yeah.
I feel like that must cancel out the haven't had breakfast, haven't had a chance to kind of wake up, but it's still in the morning. So it's like, bam, that's the second thing on the list.
Well, it wasn't because of kids, but it was because I didn't have a job. I appreciate training between like 9 and midday is pretty hard if you've got a regular 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
But when I was training professionally, this was when I did all of my training.
Did it feel good?
So I would,
Did you not watch the British Miler?
Oh, Rick. I did a lot of that training in Bushy Park. Did you know? South West London. It's very nice for
That's
running.
right next to.
Yeah, brilliant.
What was the name of the pub?
The Bell Inn.
The Bell Inn.
So that's in Hampton though. It's a very nice pub.
Is that
quiz on a
near
Sunday.
Bushy Park? That's
is
right
very
near St
close.
Margaret's
Oh my
University.
God, stop it.
That's right near the
After
river.
a hard session, Andy and his friends would go down the Bell Inn and enjoy a couple of sociable pints with their friends.
Incredible.
You know what? We should find the person who did that voiceover.
Yeah,
we should get them for
We should do a
Oh, do you know
podcast
who
in the
it
Bell
is?
Inn.
Do you have their number?
I think I do actually, yeah.
Stop it. If you want to see a whole video where it's like, Andy is walking to his desk to crack on with some important CEO business
Well, we haven't talked about it.
before he heads back.
We haven't talked about it, but a very quick plug before we return to this is that we've just announced in last week's podcast the Running Channel Club. So if you head to club.therunningchannel.com, then you could sign up to the Running Channel Club if you wanted to, and that's the sort of amazing content that we could put in the club. Maybe it's not, but you would let us know if you wanted to hear that.
I want to hear that.
But back to the point, I would get up at 7:30, have breakfast. Then that would mean that by the time I started warming up at 9:30, because that's the time that our group would have met to go training, that it had a couple of hours to not only have fueled properly, but to be fully awake and alert and warmer.
Do you think now, when you're a professional athlete, is it the same as when people are like, gosh, when I was at uni, I used to think my days were so busy, but I don't know how I filled my time? Or was it because you were doing so much running, rehab, like all of that stuff, did it kind of feel the same as a 9 to 5?
Yeah, it never at the time. It never felt like I always thought because I was training with other people who had full-time jobs, and that I wouldn't have been training with them first thing in the morning unless it was at the weekends. And I always thought, how do they do it? Because I don't have any time for that. So I guess I definitely filled my day with a lot of faff, which wouldn't be any surprise to you having come out for a run with me. There's a lot of faffing.
There's a lot of wooden spoons getting whipped out of Andy's car before he starts running.
Yeah, that's that sounds so weird. As like a massage tool. Just so you can make do with whatever's in the kitchen. So yeah, that's the mid-morning, I suppose. And I would have trained from like 9:30 to 11:30 most mornings.
I think if I could choose, I would probably choose that, because then we're on to lunchtime.
Yeah.
Do you eat at your desk? If you're like working a 9 to 5, do you eat at your desk and then go for a run at lunch? Do you go for a run at lunch, then eat at your desk in the afternoon and then eat after?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, but I just feel like I get so hungry and then I'm like, I feel like it ruins the run, because I'm like, I have to run before I can go get my meal deal.
But I suppose
if you haven't had your meal deal, it ruins everyone's day.
Everyone's day, yeah.
It really does.
But then it boosts your momentum for the afternoon, doesn't it?
What, having gone on a run? Yeah, I feel like. But then, yeah.
So you don't have the slump quite as easily.
But then I just feel like it's like a whole rush. But I don't know.
Yeah, so the notes that we've had, because you can actually see a bit of a deeper dive into this kind of conversation on the Running Channel website as well. There's an article all about what time of day to be running. And the kind of notes there are maybe have a snack before you go, like a small snack to give you that immediate kind of fuel that you need, and then your full lunch when you come back. The only thing I would say here, and this is probably not going to apply to any of the three of us anytime soon, but I know some people who try to fit in 2 runs on some days.
Yeah.
And I think that a mistake that people make is if they've got 2 runs to do, they might do one of those at lunchtime.
It's just a lot of washing.
That's your priority.
Like the amount of washing I did training for that half marathon, it just doubled.
Yeah.
Just going through clothes.
Yeah, but that's when you start going, I've only done 1 run in this pair of shorts.
Oh, Sarah.
Yeah.
Oh, the shorts. Oh, the shorts, yeah. But not the top.
Oh, no, not the
I
top.
think the other way around.
No.
You wash the shorts,
You'd wash
not the
the
top.
shorts, not the top.
I reckon the shorts get dirtier than the t-shirt, yeah.
Because you have another, well,
Depends on whether
I'm
you've
not
got
sure
another-
You're not
wanna-
sweating in the
I'm
shorts.
not
when
sure
you've got
whether we
underwear
need
on.
to go into...
Yeah,
Did you...
if you've
do
got...
we want to know this?
Hang on. If you've got underwear on. Okay, so obviously if you've got underwear on,
Yeah.
you don't need to wash the shorts.
Well, I mean, you should wash them. I
Not
suppose.
every time.
No.
But the top,
Well,
you
you
need
just-
to wash it every time.
No, I don't think so.
But-
Don't sweat. Too fit.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I'm joking.
Right, can I give you the science?
Yeah, please.
We didn't finish
Please,
that,
God,
that
give
one,
us
which
some
is like,
science.
don't, if you're doing 2 runs in one day, don't squeeze one of them in at lunchtime. You just don't have enough time
Yeah.
between the 2 runs.
Right, so here is the reason why evening is potentially the best.
Yeah.
There's a lot of research that shows that running in the early evening is the best time because core body and skeletal muscle temperatures peak, as well as lung function as well. So it's not just your muscles that are warmed up, also your lungs. And that improves energy use and efficiency in the muscles. And there has been a study of cyclists showing that they were almost 7% faster in a 1,000 meter time trial at 6 p.m. compared to 8 p.m. plus.
Compared to 8 a.m.
Oh, compared to 8 a.m., sorry. Research into Olympic swimmers found that most world records were broken in the late afternoon at 5:12 p.m. to be exact.
I think the Olympic one might be a little bit misleading because you don't want any like Olympic swimming sessions between
That's so
in the morning.
funny.
There'll be some in the morning, but there won't be any between like midday and 4 p.m.
Yeah, but then all
Sorry,
the
guys.
track at the Olympics is always at night anyway, as well.
No, but then
Yeah.
there are morning sessions.
Oh, yeah, but not many. And that's new, actually, I think, this year, the morning sessions.
At what?
The amount of morning sessions that they did at Paris this year.
No, it's not the amount. I think it's relatively new recently that they started putting the odd final in the morning sessions.
That's it,
always
yeah,
used to be
yeah.
only
Oh,
qualifying
so-
I
rounds.
remember speaking to
Right.
me and you speaking to Steve Cram about this.
Yeah,
Do you remember?
Yeah, and I think sort of the general consensus is that the reason that programming's happened is because, like, if you spoke to any of the Olympians,
It's an extra
on track
session.
and field, they wouldn't want for their final to be in the mornings. They're less well attended, and you don't have the glamour and the lights and stuff of the evening session. But the Olympic Association obviously want to sell out more tickets, and so
More sessions.
having a high profile final in a morning session means more people
More
might buy
punters.
tickets.
But that is interesting, isn't it? So, the athletes want to do it at night. And when we think of elite victories, world records, seeing the big players like that, it's always at night.
Except
But
for
we
marathons.
like running in the morning.
Oh,
Except for
yeah,
marathons. All of the
marathons, very
marathons
true.
in the morning.
But then that must be just to do with the heat.
Yeah, it's because there's I can't think of a marathon where it's not part of a mass participation race. So I don't think you could have the London Marathon, for example, staged at 8 p.m. at night.
No.
Because if you're not going to finish in 2 hours, then it's just an impractical time of the day to do something where people descend on a city from all over the world, basically.
Yeah, there is also some science into physical strength peaking in the afternoon. So that might also be a factor. So you might depend on what runs you want to do at certain times. Although I feel like for most of us, it's just depending on what you're most used to. So,
and when you might be racing as well.
Oh yeah, true. So if you are kind of racing in the morning, like I know Tom, for example, really struggles with racing in the morning.
Yeah.
So if he's training for a race where he does have to go in the morning, he wants to be getting all of his sessions into practice. So there are different strengths, but if you are someone who is like, well, I'm rarely ever going to be able to run between 4 and 6, then just get used to whatever your routine is.
And a quick note to finish with is that we talked about things potentially being better in the evening if you have that opportunity, but there's a limit to how late you should run, because if you're doing something really intense, probably beyond about 8 o'clock, then you're going to really struggle to kind of come down from that high and actually get a good night's sleep. So early evening is better there, because you get a chance to get everything done, recover, eat well, and then sort of be ready to go to sleep at a sensible time.
And to be honest with you, after 8 o'clock, that's the time for luminosity serum and body scrubs, isn't it?
Luminosity serum and body scrubs.
Yeah.
I don't know what either of those things are.
Well,
I'm literally lost for words.
You lost? Well, it's about...
Is that why you're getting the caviar out for your face?
Well, it's about, it's a winding down time, isn't it?
Right.
In the hot tub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think, though, you should look at some studies into whether you should be in a hot tub just before you go to sleep. Because isn't there something as well of like something to do with your body temperature?
Yeah, the thing that triggers sleepiness, drowsiness and going to sleep is your body temperature dropping. So if you have a really hot shower, bath or hot tub immediately before you want to go to sleep, it's not very effective. You almost need to have it an hour and a half, whatever, before
Look at Rick's
before bed.
But then I find a lot of people get quite
really-
sleepy. Like my brother always says he gets quite sleepy in the hot tub.
I think
That's because you were in there for about 3 hours with four bottles of Gabby.
Anyway, I'm off for some body truffle. Let's do some news.
Okay, it was New York Marathon at the weekend, and there were some phenomenal performances from everyone.
Yeah, and not traditionally a fast one. So actually they didn't even get close to... We're always talking about times. So it's quite nice that people just were going and racing.
Yeah.
And it's a undulating course. Rarely do people kind of set off any kind of world record pace.
Yeah.
But they're still staggering times to me anyway. The women's was won in 2:24 by Chepkirui. And the men's was won by Abdi Nagia in 2:07. So 2:24 for the women, 2:07 for the men.
Nice, super quick. And I think it's even more impressive thinking that we're talking about time of day, because it starts over one side of the bridge. So most people are up at 4 a.m. and waiting on the other side of the bridge for a few hours.
Oh, yeah, so
before it
what's that
starts.
about
so
then?
early? Because it's a point to point. I mean, like most big city marathons, I suppose. Berlin's one of the exceptions, isn't it? Is that right? Berlin starts more or less where it finishes? Or have I
Yeah,
made that up?
Chicago kind of does as well.
Yeah. You start a long way away from where you finished
Yeah.
in New York. And then you run over one of the bridges. And I can't remember which bridge this is, but I've heard lots of stories of people who have been there, that the bridge has 2 levels to it.
Oh, yeah. And if you go on the top level, people pee off the top of it. And
Yeah.
sometimes you get pee in your face.
Yeah, so if it's
Just definitely don't run on the bottom.
well, you don't have a
Yeah,
choice.
but you don't choose.
Oh, you get funneled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because people have been there for so long,
Rick's like, never want to do New York.
because people have
I
been
get
there for
that
so
mess.
long, you can't go for a wee when you're just surrounded by thousands of people in a tight kind of corral.
Yeah.
Then I think that's the first opportunity. My understanding, this is anecdotal from other people.
Right.
But
I
yeah,
have heard people, though, who have been on the bottom bridge that said it was fine.
Okay.
But I've
Okay.
heard other people who said it
She's just
wasn't,
running the
so-
gauntlet, really.
yeah, it's not a gauntlet that I would like to run if I'm honest.
But yeah, great performances at New York, which is a marathon major. And
Yes.
very excitingly, Sydney has been announced as a
So,
marathon major.
so a couple of weeks ago, we did a podcast basically talking about what are the marathon majors. Update.
There are now 7.
There are now 7. However, there is not going to be a 7-star medal. The 6-star medal will continue, and eventually the 6-star medal will become a 9-star medal when, as is likely, Shanghai in China and Cape Town in South Africa join the World Marathon Majors potentially in 2026 and 2027, and it becomes a new 9-star medal. But the 6-star will still be a thing. But this is a big change because it's the first update to the World Marathon Majors since 2013 when the Japanese marathon entered.
Tokyo.
entered.
Yeah.
Well, that's And it's a big change for Sydney as well, because I think, what were the stats that we saw?
In 2022, they had 5,000 runners, and they're hoping to have 37,000 by 2026.
Oh, really? That's a big increase, because it was 22 this year, wasn't it? Or 20 this year.
Yeah, so that's become the 7th major. You will get a 7th star for it, but there won't, like as Rick said, there won't be a brand new interim medal. They will jump straight from the 6-star medal to 9 stars in a few years.
Yeah.
And actually, the original 6-star medals will still only be for the original 6. So you can't sub one out. You can't go and do Sydney instead of one that you're trying to get into.
That 9-star medal is going to be massive.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite exciting. I think there's some kind of coin. I didn't quite understand it, but I think there's some kind of coins that you can get and put into a commemorative thing if you have 7 at the moment. So there is a way of celebrating.
It's interesting that it's gone, from, it looks like it's going from 6 to 9 in quite a short period of time over, 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Whereas it's taken 11 years since the last one, and then for years it was 5 before that.
So I think it has just grown in popularity so much.
Yeah.
Well, we see it.
I suppose it says it.
We're in the business of running. Like we're trying to help people enjoy running as much as we do through the mindless banter and a little bit of science.
Yeah.
But that means that running's really popular. And so I guess there's more demand for it out there for people to explore the world doing it as well.
We have seen people's comments as well saying, stop banging on about the majors, cover other races. So we do see that, and we do cover other races as well. But if you have any suggestions of other marathons that you would like us to talk about or cover, then please do email in podcast@therunningchannel.com or leave a comment if you're watching this on YouTube. But they are so popular, so that's why we talk about them.
Those could be. I'd love to know about ones we might not have even heard of. So little tiny ones that are run by amazing communities around the world, or big ones that are bigger and maybe, in your opinion, better than the marathon majors. But we'd love to know where they are, and how we should get involved.
I think is not talked about enough. Super halves.
Oh, yeah.
Which are 6 half marathons. It works kind of very similarly to the marathon majors, but I think you have less time to do it in. I think it's 60 months or something to run the 6 halves in, and they're all over Europe. So maybe we should go and do some of them.
Watch this space.
Halves are just good. I just don't see the point in a marathon now.
Tell us how you really feel, mate.
2025.
I think we'll get you running one.
Marathon du Medoc.
Listen,
the Warren Marathon.
A half marathon, as recently experienced, you can get out there, you can enjoy it, you can have fun, you can go for a nice big Sunday race, enjoy your day afterwards, a few glasses of the good stuff. And a marathon, though.
And still have time to put on your luminous face cream.
Yeah, exactly. Luminosity serum.
Sorry. That's right.
But a marathon, you finish at, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you're destroyed. You have 1 pint and you feel physically sick. You go home and you go to bed. It's the day.
Yeah, but you go to bed knowing you have run.
Yeah. I mean,
crawled,
climbed. Fair play. Maybe I just wasn't in
Conquered.
shape for it last time. Maybe I'd be able to attack the afternoon better. But I just think it's
I do agree.
It's a lot of work.
I think
whereas a half is just fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think there should be exponential growth in the amount of enjoyment you get afterwards with the length of the distance.
Because
have you ever seen someone party really hard after running 100 miles?
No.
Or usually they would just be crawling into bed.
Sometimes they don't even make it.
Sometimes they're like, sorry, didn't get a photo, but I did do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the link.
Right, should we do some questions?
Let's.
Tony from Okinawa in Japan. Hi, I always enjoy the science, the not-so-science banter, and the Rick beauty tips. Well,
you got a hell of a lot of beauty tips.
This is a good one for you, Tony. After years of doing extreme long walks,
Wow,
100-kilometer walks, I've started running. Wow, that's amazing. I can barely run 3 kilometers without stopping, but usually log about 10 kilometers a week. My question is, when does running actually become a fun thing to do?
When I get there, Tony, I will let you know.
Currently, it feels more like a thing I have to do, trying to get to the point where many of my friends who are enjoying running are at. I would like to be one of them. Thank you. I mean,
Isn't this such a good point?
It is so true.
Name another hobby where you get injured, where you have to be diligent about when you do it, and it's not always fun.
Yeah.
Doesn't this come down to when
if I took up knitting and I really like knitting, do you need to go see the physio because you've hurt yourself
You might
whilst
get
knitting?
RSI, wrist RSI.
Okay, but do you need to structure in
Sarah,
do you do an easy knit? Do you do an interval knit?
An interval knit.
Do you do a
Do you
long
listen to
knit at the
podcasts? Actually, there might be
weekend?
podcasts about knitting.
Oh
I
yeah,
suppose.
no, I'm sure there
Right,
is, but I feel
okay.
like knitting, it's like, well done, you love knitting, you've made something, it's great. Running, there's just so
No, I
many
get it.
ifs, buts, ands, can'ts, maybes.
Can I just sell this in 20 seconds though?
All right, go on, sell running.
go.
Right. So my other love in sport is tennis, which I am literally the worst member of the club. I mean, I boost people's mental health at my tennis club because everyone beats me. The 11-year-old kids, they all beat me. We play box leagues. They know that they're going to get 6 points out of me. Literally, I've never won a game.
How long have you been a member?
I've been a member 3 months, never won a game. Played 2 games a week.
We should play.
Never won one match, literally.
I think me and you would be pretty good at
but,
tennis.
But everyone gets a mental health boost from playing me. And I enjoy it. I enjoy it. By the fact that they walk away, they get the win, they're like chuffed, yes, good day for them, and I don't care.
But you still like
I
tennis.
like the social.
Sorry,
I
and how
like the
is this-
social of the
how's
tennis
this
club.
related
I don't
to
know if it's
running?
big news that Rick likes the social. That is breaking
I
news
lo-
on the
I
Running Channel
love the
podcast.
social. I
Also, it's
literally
20
love the
seconds-
social.
It's 20-second.
What do you mean? As in the
know,
social experience of, the social after the
Afterward,
tennis?
I like the
Is that
social
main
of the box
reason why-
leagues. Yeah,
I feel like every week he must turn up and just be like, oh, you want to play the tennis?
Can we just skip straight to the clubhouse?
I told you this too. When we were in Paris, us 3 were away for 2 weeks together. I said, when I get back, I'm going to join a tennis club. And I literally love it. It's my other big love, sporting love in life.
Don't
But
you go
play-
starting a tennis podcast?
No, I won't. But my point is, you play tennis, you lose. Like, 6 level, 6-2. It's always 6 level, 6-2. Yeah. If I get a point, I'm chuffed.
What's your point?
What do you mean? Oh yeah.
Okay, we're now nearly 2 minutes into this 20-second sell as to how good
Sorry,
running is.
I've almost forgotten what my point was. But anyway, let me come back. Let me go back.
Back to me.
Right.
Yeah, come on. mate.
Okay, so you play tennis and
my God, we get it.
No,
We get it. You played the tennis.
all right, and you get like the enjoyment of the game and it finishes, but the rest of the day,
Yeah.
you're not enjoying the rest of the day. That's gone. You're doing something else. Whereas running, you might not enjoy the half an hour run, but the
I see
rest
his
of the
point.
day, you're buzzing. Like after a park run on a Saturday morning, I am literally on fireworks.
Insufferable. Yeah.
For the rest of it, I'm zinging with energy.
You
You
are
are
fireworks.
panace.
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
are singing.
Yeah. Literally, I
love
love a
fireworks.
Saturday after I've done a run. It's
Yeah.
so much fun. I just feel charged, energetic, attacking the afternoon.
Yeah.
I can do anything. Whereas after a game...
How is he talking absolute nonsense, but
After-
I'm somehow
after
weirdly
a game of tennis,
motivated by all of it?
I don't get anything else.
I feel like
I'm
that could have
done.
been
I'm done.
summarised in 20 seconds.
There you go. 5
With
minutes
other
later.
sports, you do
Yeah.
them, and then the enjoyment is during them, but then you don't get
But
any
do
the rest
you
of the day.
think
With
All right,
running-
all right, Cambridge.
Do you think though some people would get fireworks, they would be zinging if they'd won a tennis match?
No, I think they enjoy the hit, and it's a little boost in the back of their mind that they've beaten.
Right, but sorry,
so-
but the pure gains that you're getting from running,
Correct.
you might not feel in the moment, but you
That's
will
the
feel.
answer to Tony's
Can we give
question.
something,
there you go,
Tony,
Tony.
something useful, which I guess would
Go on,
be,
Andy.
which I'm trying so hard, which I guess would be that it will get easier and it will get better and it'll get to the point where you actually enjoy the running. But until it comes to that point, you should take the enjoyment from what comes after the running and how good it sets you up for the day.
Or you should try and distract yourself as much as possible, whether that be running with other people,
Yes,
running
that
with
makes
friends.
it fun straight away.
Yeah,
Right. I would love to do more questions, but we've gone well over time.
we have.
But thanks for your company.
If anyone wants to play Rick at tennis, you should let us know.
But the score has to be 6-love or 6-2. Please do keep emailing your questions in podcast@therunningchannel.com. We love reading through them and we will see you, hear you and be with you next week. And don't forget, if you do want any extra madness, then go to club.therunningchannel.com.
Yeah, join the club for exclusive episodes of the podcast. Nothing else will change,
No.
but there is loads of other good stuff on there and we'd love to see you in the club if you fancy it.
Bye-bye.